On this channel, you get to hear scary and ghostly stories. If you like watching such videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now let's move on to today's story. Hello friends, my name is Peter and I'm from the United States of America. At present, I'm living in Alaska and looking for a job. Earlier, I used to live in California, but certain incidents happened in my life that forced me to leave that state. There were some people who were troubling me, and I knew they would follow me as long as they could. That's why I had to move somewhere no one could chase me or find me. Alaska is such a place, a part of the United States, where fewer people live. It is much colder here. The roads feel deserted and there are only a few towns, mostly small ones. Nobody really knows each other, and in such a place I could live easily, hiding from those people. But to survive, you need to find a job. That's why I filled out several government forms here, and I thought maybe this time I might finally land a job suitable for me. And when I received a letter in the morning, I opened it. It was an offer letter. I had been offered a job at a toll booth. That meant my troubles were over. Even though the expenses here are very low, if you have a job, then even a small income is enough to build a good life. When the cost of living is low, more dollars are saved. And when you save more, you can spend more on other things. My eyes sparkled with joy, but I didn't expect that this job would completely change my life. I had been given the job of toll booth operator, and I was assigned the night shift. That's what the offer letter said. I would have to work 12-hour shifts. There usually isn't much traffic there. Very few vehicles pass. The toll booth was about 17 kilometers from my home. When I read about that location, I was surprised. Wasn't that the forest road? And there's a toll booth there too. But since it's a government toll booth, what can you say? The government builds booths in strange places. After all, what's the benefit of building a road and booth on such a wild road? Hardly any vehicles must pass there, and at night I don't think even a single one would. Thinking this, I decided to visit the place, since I was supposed to join there the next week. Maybe someone else was working the night shift who was about to retire or transfer, so I could meet them. When I reached there during the day, I met a man named James. First, he wanted to know why I'd come, so I showed him my offer letter. I told him that from now on I would be doing the night shift here, so I came to meet the person who works during the day. That way we could make adjustments. If he ever needed time off during the day, I could cover for him. But hearing this, his expression changed. He said such a situation would never arise, because he would never do the night shift. If he ever had to, he'd quit instead. And no one works here at night. I would be the first one ever to do so. Then he added that I should know one thing right away. The night shift here is very dangerous. Look, he said, the cold here is extreme, and when it snows heavily. Even though the cabin is warm inside, you cannot see what happens outside. He was trying to scare me and said that if I had a weak mind, I should quit right away. I replied, no, I cannot leave this job. I've struggled hard to get it. I needed something where the work is easy and where I can stay away from others. But he warned me again, working here at night is no easy task. I myself tried it for a few nights and faced horrifying incidents. I asked, horrifying incidents? What could possibly happen here? He said sometimes a few cars do pass at night, but the people inside them are strange. I asked, what do you mean? Illegal immigrants? Gangsters? He shook his head, no. Do you believe in ghosts? I said, yes, if God exists, then ghosts too must exist. I do believe. He said, at night you will see ghosts here. That's why I'm telling you. Before you, one boy had come for this job. When I told him the truth, he left without even working a single night. I'm telling you too, leave this job. Night duty here is no ordinary matter. Because no one agrees to work at night, the booth remains open and cars pass without paying. I kept thinking about it. Then I told him, I'll think and let you know before my shift begins next week. After saying this, I left. While driving home, I kept replaying his words in my mind. Should I believe him? Only one other boy had ever come to work at night, and he had been scared off. So who has really worked here at night? Only James. And this booth had been built just a year and a half ago, and he'd been here since then. Only he knows what happens here. Maybe he's hiding some illegal business, and doesn't want anyone to find out. Whatever it is, I had no choice. I had to take the job. My savings were already used up. Otherwise, I'd have to survive with small jobs like cleaning or working in restaurants. This was a good job, a government job. I couldn't refuse. A week later, I told him I would work here. I had no other option. He explained the work to me during the day. Honestly, he spent more time trying to scare me than explaining. Finally, my night shift began, from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. I had to work, and he worked from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. When I arrived at 8, I saw the cabin filled with strange items I hadn't expected. A slingshot, several knives, baseball bats, and on some bats there were bloodstains. Seeing all this, I thought he was only trying to scare me, to make himself look like a gangster, or maybe he was really involved with them. But whatever troubles I had faced in California, surely this wouldn't be worse. So I started my duty. The booth had a barrier and a register. I checked the records during the day. Only 2 cars had passed. Then I checked the entire month's register. Only 15 cars had passed in a month. That meant vehicles almost never used this road. Then why build a toll booth here? Maybe just for people coming from far away, from Canada. Anyway, it wasn't my concern. Inside, I noticed magazines lying around, UFO magazines. The first page listed sightings from around the world. It was night, the area was forested, and I could hear distant animal sounds. Just as I began reading, I heard a loud noise outside, like wood breaking. Maybe an animal, I thought. Still, the magazine was scaring me more. Better to put it away. Reading such things at night only makes you paranoid. There were other magazines too, all about ghost stories and true haunted events. I pushed them aside. What kind of man reads only this stuff? I thought. No wonder he talks about ghosts. It was warm inside the cabin, so I switched off the heater for a while. Outside, it was freezing. I kept glancing out the window, bored. By 9 o'clock, only an hour had passed and I already felt restless. So I thought of taking a short nap. I tilted the chair, opened the window slightly for air, and closed my eyes. If a car comes, the driver will honk, and I'll say I was checking something below. Nobody will know. Surely there aren't even cameras here. I must have slept for half an hour. When I woke and checked my watch, I quickly straightened up. To my shock, the barrier was up. The button to raise it was inside the booth, but I hadn't pressed it. That meant someone outside had lifted it. Panic rose in me. Had a car passed while I was asleep? If an inspector found out, I'd be in big trouble. It was my first night. Such a mistake could cost me my job. I pressed the button a few times, but it didn't work. The barrier was jammed fully upright. That meant I'd have to go out and lower it myself. Reluctantly, I stepped outside, still worried. Who had passed through? No headlights, no sound, nothing. I forced the barrier down and went back inside. This time I vowed not to sleep again. Hours passed. By 4 a.m. I was tired. Then I noticed movement. A deer was standing right in front of the booth, waiting for the barrier to open. It was strange. Its eyes glowed red, and blood trickled from them. Its face looked wrong, almost human-like, with dark brows that contrasted with its golden fur. It stared at me intently, as though it wanted to harm me. The barrier was already raised, but it didn't cross. It just waited. When I pressed the button again, the barrier went higher, and only then did the creature turn its head, glance at me once more, and dash away at terrifying speed, not down the road, but straight into the forest. I sat frozen, wondering what else I would see here. At 4 a.m., a white truck arrived at the barrier, honking. I rushed back to the booth. The driver was unsettling. He looked abnormally tall, maybe over 8 feet, and though the truck was large, he seemed crammed inside. His shoulders were huge, his entire body covered in heavy clothing, face hidden by a mask. Only his eyes were visible. I collected 50 cents from him and gave him a toll slip. Strange, the toll here was so little. Nowhere else in the U.S. was the toll this cheap. Maybe because almost nobody used this road. The truck itself was bizarre, completely painted white, but in a sloppy way. Brush marks and uneven patches covered it as if painted by an amateur. I chuckled at the sight. The man looked intimidating, but his truck was pitiful. Maybe he too couldn't get a proper job. The truck sped away. Until 8 a.m., no other vehicles came. But I kept hearing noises in the bushes nearby. especially whenever I went to use the restroom about 100 meters away. I always carried a baseball bat, thinking maybe animals came close. Perhaps that's why James kept so many bats around, to scare them off. But why so many bats, and why bloodstains? I decided I'd ask him in the morning. When 8 o'clock finally came, James arrived. I saw something outside. I kept my eyes lowered and focused, and then came inside the toll booth. The man asked me, "You didn't get hurt, right?" I said, No, why would I be hurt? Nothing happened. He said, "Then it's fine. I thought you got injured. If you're not hurt, then that's fine. How was the night? Did it pass well? Did anything strange happen? Were you scared?" I said, No, I wasn't scared, but yes, I did make a small mistake. I dozed off for a moment, and I felt like the barrier had been lifted and someone slipped through. That was my mistake, I admitted. I promised I'd never do it again. The man said, "Be careful, don't sleep here at night. If you make a big mistake, you'll regret it later. Now you can go, I'll handle things during the day." And once he went inside the cabin, I stepped outside, and I saw bloodstains on the ground. The blood trail stretched back into the forest as if something had been dragged away, like an animal pulling away its prey. It felt as if one animal had hunted another. There was blood spilled here, and the body was dragged off. And I hadn't even realized it in the night. That's why that man asked me, "You're not hurt, are you?" This place was dangerous, but I was exhausted. I decided to leave quickly. My night duty was over, right? I drove home, collapsed into bed, and I don't even know when I fell asleep. By evening, though, I had made arrangements for food. I realized I had to stay awake at night and sleep during the day. So I decided to eat less during the day and more at night. By evening, I cooked, packed my food, and drove to the toll booth. I was 5 minutes late. That man was waiting by his car. He said, "My duty is until 8 p.m. Look, even if you're 5 minutes late, I won't wait here. You have to reach here by 8 o'clock sharp, because I'm leaving. I won't stay here in the dark. Take care, and don't step out of the cabin. If you need anything, there's plenty of stuff lying under the booth. You can use it. And don't talk to anyone, especially not to animals." Saying that, he got into his car and drove away quickly. I entered the booth, but his words kept echoing in my head. I understood most of what he said, except that one part. Don't talk to anyone, especially not to animals. Who even talks to animals? I kept laughing at that part again and again. At 10 p.m., that white truck passed through. The same man, tall, bulky, covered entirely in clothing, only his eyes visible. He never spoke, just handed over 50 cents, and I gave him the slip. This time I noticed something strange. He was wearing gloves, but the thumb section of the glove dangled empty. He didn't have a thumb. He held the coin with his fingers and took the slip the same way. The thumb wasn't there. Around 11:30, I badly needed to use the bathroom. I took a baseball bat in my hand. I knew there were animals around. I had to be careful. The bathroom was 100 meters away, not a short walk. I kept walking cautiously, hearing noises from the darker side of the forest. I stayed alert. When I neared the bathroom, I saw someone standing there. A man, dressed in black. As soon as he heard my footsteps, he knocked on the bathroom door and then darted into the bushes, straight into the forest. He knocked as though someone was inside. But there's only one stall here, a single bathroom for toll booth workers. Only one person could be inside at a time. I went closer, and indeed a man came out of the bathroom. He was wearing a black t-shirt, face partially covered. But I caught a glimpse of one of his arms. It was covered in golden hair. Thick, unnatural hair all over, as if he had some kind of disease. He quickly apologized. "Sorry, I had to use it. Please don't tell anyone." And then he ran into the forest. I wanted to ask him questions. "Who are you? Where's your vehicle?" Because there was no car nearby, only the forest. If someone comes to use this washroom, it's supposed to be travelers on the road. Why was he coming from the forest? And why was someone else waiting outside for him? But before I could muster the courage to ask, he was gone. I went inside the bathroom. It stank terribly, maybe because of what he'd done. I finished quickly and ran back to the toll booth. Inside the cabin, I tried to think calmly. Clearly, it wasn't just animals in these woods, there were people too. I decided I'd tell the day shift man about it. Maybe he knew something. But that could wait until morning. A little later, a man came on a bicycle. He was about 7 feet tall. His body was covered in strange clothing, and he had a cart hitched to the back of the bicycle. The cart was covered with cloth, but I noticed it moved, like something inside was shifting. Suspicious, I stepped outside and stopped him. He struggled to pedal. The cart was heavy. I said, "Sir, please wait a moment." He replied sharply, "It's a two-wheeler. There's no toll," and he kept pedaling. I said, "Wait, I want to see what's in the cart. It's moving. If this is something illegal, I should check." He snapped, "Are you a toll worker or a policeman? Who gave you that right?" He was right. I wasn't law enforcement. I had to stay quiet. He pedaled away, but I couldn't stop thinking, what was in that cart? Was it animals being smuggled, or had he kidnapped someone? I tried to see his face, but like everyone else here, he was covered. And yes, the cold was brutal. Masks and heavy coverings were necessary to survive, especially for someone on a bicycle. This cold could kill a person. At 8 a.m., when the day man arrived, I told him, "So much happened at night. I need to tell you." He said, "You're still alive, right? Don't worry. Strange things always happen here." I said, "I saw people coming out of the bushes, people using the bathroom, and then running into the forest." He said, yes, you'll see plenty of that. People live in this forest, but they're strange. They never show their faces, always cover themselves." I asked, "You know about this?" He said, "Yes." Then I told him about the cyclist with the cart and how the load seemed alive. He warned me, "You're a toll booth worker, not the police. Don't try to check their things. These people are violent. If you quietly do your job, they'll leave you alone. But if you act smart, they'll get angry. And did you notice they're unusually tall?" I said, "Yes." The truck driver was nearly 8 feet tall. Most others I've seen are at least 7 feet. He said, "That's what I mean. When I did night duty, I saw the same. And one night I saw a demon. Its face looked inhuman. Its eyes glowed red. From that night onward, I refused to do night duty. I even wrote a letter, if they force me to work nights again, I'll quit. Since then, they've left me alone. When I saw that demon, I realized the authorities must be involved. They know people die here, and they don't care. They'll never tell anyone. My advice, quit this job before something happens to you." I said, "You're exaggerating. Sure, there are tall people here, like in Serbia or Russia or Alaska. People can be tall. Maybe villages are nearby, but ghosts? That's an exaggeration," he said. "Just wait. Spend more nights here. You'll understand. Quit while you're still alive. After you're dead, you won't have the chance." That night, I was back on duty. Again, something strange happened. A car approached without a license plate. The car was a wreck with no windows, just broken frames. The driver was wrapped in cloth like a bed sheet, covering his body. If someone like that comes through a toll booth, what should you do? I felt something was wrong. Twice already, I had heard noises from the trunk of such cars. He handed me 50 cents, and before giving him the slip, I said, "Sorry, sir, but I need to inspect your vehicle. You don't have a license plate, and I need to record the vehicle's details. Can I see your license or registration? Can you tell me your vehicle number?" His face was hidden, dark glasses, mask, only his forehead visible. And even there I saw hair growing unnaturally high up his forehead. He stayed silent, staring at me. I said again, "Sir, without the vehicle number, I can't give you the slip." He gave me some random number. I knew he was lying. Maybe he had stolen the car, so I said, "Sir, then I'll have to see your trunk myself." For the first time, someone replied. His voice was deep, distorted, like he couldn't speak properly. He said, "No, you cannot see the Mauger." I didn't understand. Who or what was Mauger? I said firmly, "Sir, I can't let you pass otherwise. I'll have to call the police." He said, "I've already paid the toll. I have the right to pass. Will you raise the barrier, or shall I do it myself?" He threatened me. He was huge, but I wasn't going to be intimidated this time. I said, "No. If you don't let me inspect, I'm calling the police." He said, "The police have no authority here. Weren't you told the rules? You're not allowed to call the police here. In fact, your phone won't even work. There are jammers." How did he know this? Only an insider would. That scared me. But my curiosity was stronger. So I decided I'd let him go through, and then I'd follow him. I raised the barrier. His car was slow, creaking. Once he passed, I turned off my headlights and tailed him. He drove off the highway onto a muddy dirt road. Into the forest, my fear grew. I disguised myself further, layered clothes, covered my face, wore a hat and glasses, even smeared some color on my skin so I would look like them. Then I followed. The dirt road stretched deep into the forest. Finally, we reached a wooden bridge over a small river, twisted and crude, as if locals had built it without skill. Yet it was strong enough to hold the cars. There I saw it, the white truck again, several cars, many bicycles, motorcycles, strange vehicles I had never seen before. It looked like 2 or 3 different vehicles had been cut apart, broken, and then stitched together, just made usable somehow. What the hell is going on? I parked my car a little behind because I knew this vehicle was going to stop there as well. As soon as it pulled up, I had already parked mine, and I quietly got out and hid behind a tree. Slowly, I made my way toward those vehicles, and that's when I saw light. Fires had been lit close to the trees. As I walked further, I wanted to see who had lit those flames. I was sure some kind of illegal activity was going on here. Definitely either gangsters, smugglers, or drug traffickers. The kind of people who hide like this, protected by corrupt government officials. That man working the toll booth during the day was involved with them too. The whole conspiracy was being hidden. But I thought if I inform the higher authorities, then there won't be any problem. I just wanted to collect evidence quietly. I could only tell the world about this once I could pinpoint the place. As I moved closer, I saw people sitting around the fire. And nearby, I noticed several houses too. But who could have built such houses? They were crooked and ugly. Trees had been chopped down, the wood nailed together into twisted, misshapen huts. Each house was a different shape. Some were built up in the trees, others half buried in the ground. Half of them were already rotting away. What kind of lunatic would build such houses? Then I saw many figures. Some stood 10 feet tall, while others looked like tiny 3-foot-tall children. But all of them were covered, wrapped in cloth and rags, as if they didn't want anyone to see them. I had to crawl and sneak my way past because I wanted to look inside those houses. What was inside? Around the village, barbed wire had been set up so no outsider could get in. Clearly, all this was illegal construction. Who would buy jungle land? They must not have bought it either, just seized it. If I informed the government, a raid would definitely happen here. Now I just needed to see someone's face, to recognize someone. Who were these giants? Were they brought from Africa? Or were they local people? I approached one house. I pulled the window slightly to the side and peeked in. What I saw froze my blood. Inside sat a man at least 7 feet tall. He had stripped off his clothes and sat comfortably on a broken chair, but his body was covered in hair. His arms were not human at all, and his hands had only 3 fingers. His mouth resembled that of a cat, but he was speaking in a human language to another creature in the room. That other creature looked exactly like him. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I must be hallucinating. Was this real, or was I losing my mind? I checked another house. Inside was a completely different being, half horse-like, but its body was rotten, shriveled with wrinkles, worse than any old man. Like the way some animals look when all their fur falls out, they were not humans. None of them were. My whole body trembled as the thought struck me. I need to get out of here. The man at the booth had been telling the truth. There was something here, something no one was meant to discover. Our only job was to sit at the toll booth and never ask questions. I should never have come here. Quietly, I ran back toward my car, but just as I was about to climb in, I felt a presence on the other side of my car. Someone had seen everything I'd seen. Before I could open the door, it lunged at me, trying to grab me. Its heavy voice growled, "Stop. Don't try to leave without our permission." Then it called out, summoning 3 more of its kind. They came running, their clothes falling off as they moved, because they had only wrapped themselves in fabric to disguise their bodies. Inside, they were strange beasts, demonic creatures squatting in our world. That was all I could think. My heart sank. I was trapped. They wouldn't let me reach my car. I had no weapon, I was defenseless. They ran on 2 legs, sometimes on 4, and some swung like monkeys through the trees chasing me. Their numbers grew, first 4, then 6, 7, then 10, 15, and soon an entire horde was after me. I panted, desperate, just trying to reach the highway, to get close to the toll booth. If I could make it there, I'd be safe. That toll booth was solid strong. Once inside, maybe I'd survive. But the distance was too great, and they nearly surrounded me. At one point, they trapped me from all sides. Honestly, I saw death that night. They were terrifying, and then one of them, 8 feet tall, stepped forward. His red eyes glowed. I recognized him instantly. He was the driver of the white truck. Staring straight at him, I cried out, "Don't kill me. Love you, what are you? Who are you?" He came closer and said, "Don't run. Running won't help you. You'll only invite more trouble. You'll bring death closer to yourself." It was a clear threat, and I was so scared I snatched a piece of wood from the ground and swung it wildly. Somehow I managed to break through the crowd. I don't know if they were afraid or if they simply didn't want to attack me. Their expressions, their behavior, they were animal and human both. I kept running. Again and again they tried to corner me, but I evaded them until finally I stumbled into the toll booth. The entire horde surrounded me. Inside, I grabbed the baseball bat that lay there. I shouted, "Don't come in, don't come in. I'll kill you." The white truck man raised his hand and commanded the others, "Don't crowd him. Go back, move away." They left reluctantly, but 10 or 15 still stayed outside, circling. Then he came to the window and said, "If you think I can't break this glass, you're mistaken. Some of us are small enough to crawl through. We could hurt you. We could have killed you in the jungle already, but no one did. No one has harmed you. If you don't want to die, then you need to talk to us. Otherwise, you'll only bring disaster upon yourself, understand? Talk." I shouted back, "How can I trust you? You're not human. You're not animal. If I step outside, you'll kill me." He said, "We won't kill you. Did anyone kill you before? Think about it. Every time we passed through here, if we wanted to hunt you, we could have done it long ago. Try to understand. If you reveal what you've seen, they will kill you." I asked, "Who will kill me, the animals?" He replied, "Not animals. Humans will kill you." His words struck me deep. Maybe he truly wanted to talk, but could I trust him? If I stepped out, would he murder me? Yet what he said was also true. Inside the booth, I wasn't safe either. The baseball bat was no match for their claws and fangs. So summoning courage, I stepped outside. "Don't kill me," I said. He replied, "Thank you, you trusted us. I don't want anything to happen to you. You've seen our place, don't ever tell anyone about it. For us, it would be a problem, but for you, it would be certain death. Humans would kill you." I asked, "Which humans?" "Why, what kind of humans? Are you devils? Beasts? Vampires? What are you?" He said, "We're not humans. We're not animals. We were made this way. Humans made us." Then he added, "Come, I'll show you. Then you'll believe me." He led me deeper into the forest, back to that hidden village. Beyond it, he showed me an old abandoned laboratory, a government lab. "This is where it all began," he explained. "Here, secret experiments were once carried out by government institutions. At first, the work was only botanical, mutating trees and plants, developing new edible fruits. But then they began experimenting on animals. They tried mutating them, altering their DNA. And then something leaked. Chemicals spilled into the surrounding forest. Over 70 years, the animals exposed to it began to change. Their DNA evolved. They gained intelligence. They became like humans. The institution was shut down, but the truth was buried. Government officials who knew of it suppressed it ruthlessly. Anyone who discovered the truth was silenced, murdered. The news never spread. If you try to reveal this too, he warned, you will also be killed. No matter how far your reach goes, they will find you and end you. I understood. His words made sense. I asked, "Then what should I do?" He said, "Do nothing. Keep working your job. If you know the truth, you won't face trouble. No one else knows. Those who did are already dead." This secret never went beyond the state level. That's why this toll booth still stands. If it were in the hands of others, no human would be allowed here. You came, so now we hide. Maybe you can help us, and we can help you. They only wanted things from the human world. Food, clothes, supplies that only humans could buy. They couldn't risk being seen in towns, and so I agreed. For the last 6 years, I've been working at that toll booth, always on the night shift. Now I know their faces, I talk to them, and I'm no longer afraid. During the day, the other man who works here asks me, "Nothing bad happened to you?" And I just answer, "Nothing." Every night, the creatures surround me, threatening to tear me apart, and every night I survive. I've come to enjoy it. That's why I keep this job. The forest hides many things that can be sold. They give them to me, I sell them in the city, and in return I bring them what they need. I'm telling you this only because it's a strange kind of job, one that perhaps no one but me could handle or endure. But remember this, every problem is also a challenge. And once you overcome it, that challenge may turn into profit, just like it did for me. I have very few friends among humans, but in this jungle among the beasts, I have many.